Are you looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home without the hyped up price of Noe Valley? Well, today I'm gonna show you a home that's perfect for somebody who's starting out. Maybe you're thinking or have 1 or 2 kids and you're looking to just get into the market. As you can see, this home behind me is a beautiful Victorian, and I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, they've stripped out everything about that home and turned it into some sort of generic white box. But let me tell you, I'll show you in a minute that that's not what happened. Also, this home checks off all of the boxes that are really hard to get in a home of this price point. But before I do that, let me show you something not so sexy, and that is going to be the garage. Okay, so this is a little odd that I'm starting here because it's not so pretty, right? But I will tell you, not to stereotype, but the husbands that I work with, all they care about is the garage, right? So one thing in Bernal Heights, which is where we're standing right now, the garages are often pretty narrow. When my clients bought this home, the garage was narrow as well. So remember that if you're shopping in this neighborhood, and honestly anywhere in San Francisco, always test the garage. They can be really deceiving and often the cars don't fit. So when my clients bought this home, they actually widened the garage. They replaced the foundation on the sides of the garage to strengthen it, and they also replaced the whole foundation on this side. It used to actually jet out a little bit. So not only was the garage narrow, but you had this jet coming out there, so you just couldn't park a big car in this garage. Now let's go in and see the house. So as we're walking, I'll tell you the street behind me, and I'm gonna show you that in a minute. It's actually got some really special things about it for Bernal Heights, because one of the things, if you've been looking in Bernal Heights or talking to anybody who looks in Bernal Heights, not all the streets are the same. So I'll tell you a little bit more. Okay, welcome inside. And I told you that there's a lot of classic period details here, you guys. So starting out, this is our entryway, and we've got original wainscoting right here. So this is going to be one of those beautiful details that a lot of times people strip out. As we walk inside, we have a double parlor living room here, and that includes original sliding doors. A lot of times these doors do not work very well. This is a little bit unusual. These are sliding pretty smoothly. Oh, that still scratches a bit, but you can open and close them. A lot of times they're just completely stuck. So these double parlor living rooms, they're really, really common in these early 1900 homes. This is a 1906 home. And a lot of times people end up turning one side into a bedroom or something like that. But this house, you have a full entertainment level, nothing else going on here, which honestly in this price point, which is 2.4 is what we're in contract for. We got 3 offers on this home. And in this price point, you usually do not get all of the things that I'm gonna show you here. So another thing in terms of details, you've got the medallions still on the ceiling. We did replace some of the lights. The seller replaced some of the lights as well with more modern fixtures. This is gonna have been an original coal burning fireplace. It doesn't currently work, but there is a gas line here, so you could actually make this gas. And someone at some point did change the original tile, but I love this tile. I think it's very, very nice. You guys, check out these floors. I mean, you have cherry here. This is a herringbone pattern, which is very, very expensive to do. And honestly, people just don't do it anymore. And then you have the beautiful inlays all around, which is absolutely gorgeous. In here, you have an original built-in. Now, these built-ins, they never, you're not getting, like, actually, see a little squeakiness, right? Sometimes there are people who will refinish these in even a higher end way, but still being able to keep the built-in. But it's nice that it's still here. You can also see the picture railing on top. It has, like, they don't build stuff like this. Like, who would take the time to make these plaster moldings anymore? It just doesn't happen anymore. And then the ceiling, how it curves here, that's called a cove. So the original ceilings in these 1900 homes, they were coved. They don't build like that because it's way cheaper to just make 90-degree angles, right? A cove, it's so expensive. Like, you'll maybe see it like as new construction done in like a $8 million home or something like that. but never, ever, ever in this kind of price point. So you have 2 living rooms here. A lot of times these homes, people will tear out this wall here in front of me and make an open floor plan kitchen. Now, that would certainly be a possibility that you could do if you wanted to. We do have some buyers who came into the home and they thought that the kitchen was a little bit small. You know, it's a good size functional kitchen. I would say, I mentioned to you that there are some downsides. It is the one thing that hasn't been done recently. I'll show you the bathrooms in a minute that have all been redone, but these, we repainted them for sale. I love this color. But if you look inside, you can see they're older cabinets. So at some point, somebody's probably gonna wanna redo this kitchen entirely, but you know, you've got a newer countertop on here. You've got nice painted, it's very, very functional and quite pretty. I love this light fixture as well. I can't take credit for that. We also, this floor, we added. So inside of this house, whenever we took it over for the listing, it was like this really kind of very beat up vinyl. And one thing that I think is that if you have one flooring that runs throughout, it is going to make the home feel much larger. And also I felt like it really, really elevated the home. So we thought that was important to do. So our client spent some money to do that. I think it was money really well spent. This is one of my favorite rooms, you guys. I mean, look at this dining room. So I don't know if it's obvious or not, but this used to be a porch. It was in 1989, it was turned into living space with permits. These windows here are original. You can see they're single pane glass. The windows in the main area have all been updated, which is really, really nice. So a couple of things that you don't typically get in this price point. One of them is gonna be this backyard that I'm gonna show you. And my clients actually updated the backyard. It's gorgeous. So right now I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna show you this amazing yard, but if you love content like this or you like those tips like the garage, feel free to tune in every Monday at 5 p.m. for more videos like this one. So you'll notice I just walked right off the kitchen. So in many of these Bernal homes, you're actually walking downstairs, you're walking through a bedroom to get to the outdoor space. To be able to walk off of the kitchen into a yard, it's highly coveted and it's a major life-changing situation, right? Because you can entertain, you can watch your kids play. It's right off of the space. And not only that, speaking of entertaining, I mean, you guys, you have a 36-inch grill here, which is awesome, a little refrigerator. This fire pit, amazing. I will tell you, having shopped for fire pits, they are not all created equally. A fire pit like this one is gonna be $4,000 or $5,000, and it is really putting out some heat right now. So even though Bernal Heights is actually a very sunny, very nice neighborhood, if you live in San Francisco, and many of the people who contact us on YouTube do live here, you know that it gets cold a lot. Like today is probably 60 degrees and rainy. But to be able to have a space that you can come out, turn on a fire pit, and probably not when it's wet like this, but sit out here with your friends and family and just hang out in the backyard, it's awesome. And then you've got this beautiful fencing all around me, and you know, the kids can play, you can hang out, barbecue. Like, this is just an extraordinary life situation. Now, one thing that you don't get in this house, and I would say is very common not to get in a house of this price point, is the garage door is back here. So you either walk in like I did from the front or you're walking in this way, but there's no internal access between the garage, which would be nice. That would be a nice to have, right? So I have to say that a lot of the homes in Bernal are just a little funky, and I don't think this one is for the price point. So one of the things that's funky a lot of times is the bedroom and bathroom situation. So in this one, okay, back to these floors, you guys. I mean, you can really see it here. It's so, I mean, look at this inlay. It is just so beautiful. And to walk into this, it's just gorgeous, right? And then original hardware you have on some of these doors. But back to the bathroom. So this is a powder room. It was added. It used to be a coat closet. So you have to find another place for coats. But to not have a bathroom on your entertainment level, can you imagine? That would not be good. And then upstairs, a lot of times there's just one bathroom. Wait till I see, I'm gonna show you how to fix that in some of these homes. So come on, let's go upstairs. So again, wainscoting all the way up. We now are moving into a different flooring type. So this is a Doug fir floor up here, which is also original. So up here, you have the much coveted 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that you have to compromise when you're buying a house. So a good house is an 8 out of 10. So not everything is always perfect. If I go out and tour with buyers, a lot of times they're like, I saw 6 homes today and I wanted to take the location from this one and move it here, and the kitchen from this one and move it here, and the backyard from that one and move it here. It doesn't work that way. We have to be able to compromise. So some compromises here I'll show you. So the primary bedroom, right? It could be larger, I'll admit. You can fit a king in here. I wish the stager had done that. But there's not a ton of space to move around in any of these rooms. Now this is where you can get creative, because you can't buy this house, it's already sold. But in some of these other homes, like a lot of times you have this same architecture. Like you could take these homes and kind of duplicate them, but there's only one bathroom. So in here, there's a bathroom that's been added, really nice finishes. This was just done a year ago. And you know, beautiful vanity, beautiful lights. You walk in, it's tight in here, I'll admit. You know, there's no 2 people fitting in the shower, but you even have a little bench. So there's plenty of space, right? And it's better than not having it. And it's beautifully done. So you have an ensuite bath, which is actually a little bit unusual in homes like this. The closet situation, another compromise. It's small, so for, I don't know, in the Victorians, like I guess like the little bustiers or whatever dresses that they wore, they must have had one, right? Here, it's not the biggest. It could be smaller. So for a primary suite closet, you've got this full length, that's it. And then maybe you put, you know, where that dresser is back there, maybe you put a bigger vanity or something if you wanted to, or you buy nicer, less clothes. I have a small closet, and so I use it as an excuse to buy whatever I want because I can only fit so many things in it. Again, here's another bathroom. If you do have children or you're thinking of having children, then having a bathroom with a bathtub is a must, right? Because young children love baths, and it's nice to be able to throw them in a bathtub versus trying to take a shower with them. It's a little squeaky. But all redone, so nice not to have to do anything, not to have anything funky. And then you have your 2 bedrooms for either 2 children or an office or a guest room, depending on your situation. So this is, I think, the larger of the 2 bedrooms has a closet. The one next door, there's no closet. So again, back to the compromises. You know, if this is a small kid, my kids, when they're little, their clothes are so little, they don't take up a lot of space, right? But you might have a vanity here. You have to get creative in San Francisco, I'll admit, especially at these price points. But this is the 2nd bedroom. You do have a little closet here. So not ideal because you do need a place to put towels and stuff, but maybe, I don't know. What I would do if I had young kids is just make like a double closet in there or have a drawer situation going on in the other one. So that completes the upper level. That didn't take that long. The house is 1,750 square feet, so it's not huge, but it's not small either. I want to go out and show you a couple of the things about why people would live in this specific location. I mentioned to you the backyard. We do have a nice, I think a really nice sized backyard for the location, but having a place where you can go with young children and play with other young children and meet other neighbors, awesome, right? So Presida Park is really close by. Let's walk down there, and then as we do that, I'm gonna tell you a little bit. Remember I told you I was gonna tell you about the street. Okay, so we've made it out onto the street. Let me walk out here so I can kind of show you the street, you guys. This is wide street, tree lined. Up behind me, this is Bernal Hill, and that's sort of, I would say, one of 3 parks in the neighborhood. If we were to walk up there, which we're not going to today, we have lots of videos on Bernal if you want to dive in, but there's 360 views of the city. So if you have a dog and you want to go out and walk the dog, that's a great place to do it. There's a little swing up there. So this street, the width of this street is very unusual for Bernal. I mean, Bernal is one of those neighborhoods where I would say 80% of the streets are so tight, and they're not one way, but they're so tight that when you drive down them, you like hold your breath as you're going up a hill and pray to God that another car doesn't come and hit you. And that is something that a lot of people don't like about the neighborhood. In fact, when we were looking in Bernal, when I was buying my husband, that was like, cut it out for him. So, but, you know, I think working with an agent that can tell you how to find the things that maybe are special is really important. So there are, in every neighborhood, there's exceptions. So kind of knowing where those exceptions are is really important, and we can always help you with that. So we're headed down right now. It's a block and a half to Presida Park, and we're on the north slope of Bernal. So up in front of me is a skyline view of the city, which is really, really beautiful. A lot of the homes on the north slope, not this one, but a lot of them do have really big views. That obviously is gonna push the price up on the home quite a bit. You can see over here, there's a little mural on this house. I would say that's one thing about Bernal. There are quite a few homes where there's some different murals on the homes, which is pretty cool. I mean, you see that really throughout San Francisco, but I feel like it's a little bit more prevalent actually in Bernal Heights. There is, on the park, there's a place called Presida Eyes, which is the organization that actually maintains a lot of the alleys in the Mission, like Balmy Alley. I actually did a photo shoot with my kids there recently because they both went to school. They both went to middle school in the Mission, and one of them went to high school, and I thought it was like a nice way to commemorate their time in the Mission. So we did a family photo shoot with all the murals and stuff behind us. They turned out really cute, actually. I will say those alleys, they're a little dirty. My husband was like, "What are we doing?" And I was like, it's cool. Don't sit down, don't touch anything. But it was very, very pretty. So right here we have Presida Park Cafe. This is a great place to grab a coffee, grab a sandwich, grab a salad. And then you have the park right across the street. You guys should subscribe because I'm risking my life. Just kidding. You can subscribe, but I'm not risking my life. But anyway, so here's a park. I think one of the things that makes San Francisco what it is all of the parks. We have over 200 parks, maybe over 250, I can't remember the number. But a park like this is somewhat unusual, where you have the park and then you just have all of these houses surrounding the park. So imagine, you know, you have some kids, you come down here to play in the park and you meet all your neighbors. Like, I don't think people are coming from other neighborhoods necessarily to come and play in this park. So really, you're meeting like other kids that your kids can play with. And I do think what I hear from my clients who live in this neighborhood all the time is that Bernal Heights is very much a community where like the people help each other. The kids are off playing together all the time. Like sometimes you don't even know where your kid is. You're like calling the other parents. So it's a really, really strong community that way. And people love that. Right here, we have a really big open space. And a couple of times a year at least, they actually put up a big screen here and they have movies as well. And you know, so right now there's like some dogs and some people playing out here with dogs. So that's very common as well. It's a great place to grab a soccer ball, kick around the soccer ball. I've seen all kinds of events and stuff out here in this lawn area. So there's a lot of different uses that you could use it for. I mean, my kids love soccer, so being able to just meet their friends and play a soccer game after school, like super, super sweet. I'm gonna show you a couple of the other things that are right on the park. Now, right here on this side of Bernal, what I would say is there's not a ton of restaurants and shops right here. You have a few different options. You can go to the other side, to Cortlandt. There's quite a few shops and restaurants on that side, but you are walking over the hill. You can also go this direction to the Mission, and the Mission has some of the best restaurants in the whole city, I think. And so that's super, super easy. Also, if you go that direction, like straight down Folsom, you can hit the BART station, which is what my clients did. They actually walk straight down Folsom to the 24th BART. So being able to take the BART downtown, or we're on Presida right now, and if you continue down Presida, it's gonna drop right into Mission. And there's a ton of restaurants, not a ton, but quite a few restaurants, quite a bit of really good nightlife down there as well. Like, let's see, there's El Rio, which is a really great bar. They have like an outdoor patio. So on the weekends they open at 3 and you can sit out and have a drink. They also have a salsa night. Oh, you guys look, so this house here, I do believe that it used to be the house that was like painted in some sort of Beatles mural or something, but that has since been painted over. But this is an extreme example of a house with a mural. It's right next door to Presida Eyes, and there's probably a backstory. Maybe they own both. I actually don't know the backstory. But Presida Eyes, I mentioned, is like, you know, supporting artists and all of the murals around San Francisco and that sort of thing. But back to the Mission Street side. So, you know, there's maybe 3 or 4 like bars down there, some sleepier. There's also like, there's a great Thai place. There's a great ramen place. There's a place where you can get Peking duck. There's a Taqueria Cancun, which has some of the best burritos in the city. Quite a few different like eating options, and it would take maybe 6 minutes to walk there from here. So lots of walkability. Blue Plate is down there. I used to live right down there, and that was 20 years ago. And Blue Plate has been there since I lived there 20 years ago. So that's more of like a home style. Like, I think they're famous for their meatloaf, their mac and cheese, fried Brussels sprouts, that sort of thing. But really good food. And then up here on my left, this is a new restaurant. It's called Forage. And there's been a bunch of restaurants in there over the years. This particular one I haven't been to yet. I think it opened maybe a year ago. It was Marlena's that got a Michelin star. I was so surprised that it like went away after it got a Michelin star. That was so sad. They had the best bread ever. And then I think it was the Supper Club before that. But it seems like everything that goes in there is actually pretty good. But I haven't been there, so let me know if you've checked it out in the comments below. Let me know how it is. If you needed to just pick up a quick bottle of wine or a quick gallon of milk, you've got this little corner store here that has kind of like your very basics, like vegetables, that sort of thing. And then Yesenia on my team, who grew up actually on the North Slope, this is one of her favorite Mexican places. And she says, I have not been, but actually when I was preparing for this video, I was like, dang, I need to go there. Because it's just like home-cooked Mexican. I love a michelada, and she says they have the best micheladas in the city. So that's a great place to go for that. And then coming up, I'm getting ready to walk right by Charlie's Coffee, so you can get a cup of coffee there. And then bakery, what are you guys selling?
We sell sourdough bread.
Sourdough, yes. Awesome. Do you guys have a normal shop or?
Yeah, we're on Cortland.
Amazing.
Right, across from the library.
Then you just come over here so the people on this side can also have access. Amazing. Yep. Awesome. Thank you. So as we continue down this street, the street that I'm walking on now, it's Presida. It's continuing on, and that's going to hit into the Mission. So I'm going to keep walking down there just so you can get a feel kind of for the neighborhood, and I'll keep talking to you about some of the things in the neighborhood. So for groceries on this side, you're a little limited in terms of being able to walk to something. On the Cortland side, you have Good Life Groceries, which is the same owners as Gus's, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I'm sure you will. Or you have the Safeway on Mission, which I think leaves a lot to be desired personally, that particular Safeway. There is a Whole Foods in Noe Valley, which is not far away at all either. So you have a couple different options for groceries. We talked about weather. It's really, really sunny here. In terms of the kind of people who want to live here, it's a really wide variety. I mentioned the community to you, but you have like some really old school Bernal people that have been here for a long time. So it's like just a mix of that nice sense of community for some long-term residents. And then primarily the people who we're working with that come here, they are in tech or in biotech, and they're looking for close proximity to the 280. So you're like literally right off of 280 where that house sits. On the other side too, you can get to 280 from either side of Bernal really, really easily. We saw Pita Park. The other park that's in the neighborhood is Holly Park. It's on the other side, and it's quite a big park. So you have 3 parks in this kind of small neighborhood. I'm gonna turn around and head back because you guys, it is starting to rain. So pray for me that I can wrap this up and not get my videographer ran over in the process. But I wanted to share a couple more things with you. So price point. I mentioned to you that that house was in contract for 2.4. We had 3 offers on it. There was actually a ton of interest in the house. I have to say it's interesting where the market is right now because buyers are showing up exuberantly, but they're not always writing. That's what I'm seeing in this moment. I have to say that on a week-to-week basis, it can be really, really different in terms of how the market feels. Oh my gosh, you guys, it is starting to pour right now. This is a weekend that we're supposed to be getting another atmospheric river. So we're gonna run back through this rain and then I'm gonna wrap up with a couple of things about price. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is I said that in one of my videos, I told you that Bernal is like one of the best places to get a deal in terms of an area that I expect to appreciate. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about why and we'll go from there. Oh my gosh, you guys, we made it back. Look at me, I am drenched. I'm going to like put on my swag. Okay, so, wow. Okay, subscribe. I did this for you. It's wet, the camera's wet, we're all wet. Price. Okay, so for Bernal, you are looking at, in Bernal Heights, you're looking at a price point between like 2.3 and 2.8 for a good single family home. Remember I told you this one is in contract for 2.4. My clients bought this home in 2019 for $2.3 million. And then they put about $200,000 into it. So they are losing money. And so Bernal, at the top of the market, it was selling for a lot more, right? Pre the crash of 2022. And you know, people they love Bernal, but it just hasn't come back the same way, and it will. Now my clients were lucky enough that they stayed in the neighborhood. They bought a house that the seller purchased for $150,000 less than they purchased the house, right? So not quite the same price point in terms of the difference, but get this, that house was the first house in my entire career that I sold with a contingency to sell. So we are closing out this one, taking the money from this one to buy that one. And that is a very tricky thing to do. It is not something that can be done every day, but there's certain timing in the market and certain ways to get creative. So anyway, just feel free to reach out in any of the ways below and we can brainstorm. But for the price, so for another example where I saw this is like Noe Valley is another neighborhood, and I was working with buyers there last year in the fall. And what I saw was that, but there was a house that sold for about $700,000 higher than the current comp. And there was just 2 offers. We were the reasonable ones, and then somebody else just came in and like shot the moon. And then 2 weeks later, another similar house sold for that same new price per square foot. So overnight, the price per square foot in Noe Valley went up $200 a square foot, which when you're looking at like a 3,500 square foot house, it's a lot of money. So that happens, I've seen it happen so many times. So when it happens in Bernal, it's not gonna be like this warning goes out, like prices are going up. It's just gonna happen overnight. So I have another video that I talked about some other neighborhoods. I think the Richmond district was in there. I don't think I talked about the Mission, but that would be another one that's in there. So I'm happy to share with you if you're looking for those kinds of opportunities. Let's jump on a Zoom, explore like what you're looking for, what your compromises are. If you're looking to sell, we can help with that. Also, if you want to learn more about Bernal, it should be like 4 different neighborhoods, not one. And Yesenia on my team who grew up here, she broke down the neighborhood in this video right here to help you understand it.